Hi everyone, I'm Tanaz from foreverconscious.com and this is your weekly energy forecast for the week of May 9th. We have a big week happening in the cosmic skies. If you heard my forecast last week, you would have heard me say that May is a turning point month. And this week, we're really going to start feeling some of that turning point energy. Some of that, winds of change are kind of flowing in as we move through this week. So on May 11th, 12th, we have the Taurus new moon. And this new moon opens the doorway to eclipse season. So let me explain this for a minute. So this new moon is not an eclipse. However, if we were to look at an astrology chart at the time of the new moon, we would see the sun and the moon conjunct. So sitting at the exact same degree of the zodiac. So if we're looking at an astrology chart, the sun and the moon are at the exact same degree, and that is considered the new moon and the start of a new lunar cycle. And then if we were to look at the full moon, the sun and the moon would be exactly opposite each other. So it's almost like the moon has made half a sort of cycle, and the sun and the moon, when they're exactly opposite each other in the astrology chart, we get a full moon. And that represents sort of like the peak of the lunar cycle. The full moon is always the peak of the lunar cycle. And this particular full moon that we have coming up on May 26th is a total lunar eclipse or a blood moon eclipse. And so that's why this new moon opens the door to eclipse season. And then of course the moon will continue to go around, and when we get another new moon, we begin a new lunar cycle. So we're entering into eclipse season, and eclipse season is always a time of change, transformation, transition. Eclipses affect us all differently. Sometimes they're really loud, the change is really undeniable, and then other times it might be a little more subtle, and then even other times it might not even be you going through the changes. You might just be witnessing someone close to you going through a transformation or some sort of change in their life. So it can affect us all differently, but we've got those winds of change rolling in as we begin this new lunar cycle. Now, even though the eclipse season can bring change and transformation, this is the Taurus new moon. This is a Taurus lunar cycle. And there is a grounding force, a grounding energy on offer to us under this new moon to maximize, to really use the energies of this new moon. We want to ground our energy. And I think if we tap into the forces behind this new moon, we'll be assisted with that. I also have a ritual which I've designed specifically for the Taurus new moon. I'll drop a link below. You can also find it at foreverconscious.com. But this ritual is really about helping you to kind of ground and enter a place of acceptance, kind of just feeling rooted, feeling accepting of whatever comes, whatever goes. It's sort of, even though that can be really tricky, it's sort of like that surrender of going, I am here, I'm in my center, I feel stable, I feel secure, and then allow whatever needs to flow around me. And that ritual was kind of designed with that in mind. But even if you don't do the ritual, the energies of this new moon are really about grounding, finding our sense of security, stability, and balance, and then surrendering, allowing, whatever transformations and shifts to occur. And again, it's easier said than done, but it's really sort of entering a place of surrender and just trusting in the universe, and trusting that whatever comes our way, we are either strong enough to handle it, or it's going to elevate us to a new and higher path. So that's the new moon energy. And then a couple of days later on May 13th, we have Jupiter moving into the sign of Pisces. So this is a big energy shift. It's one of the biggest energy shifts we'll experience this year. Jupiter will enter Pisces just for a short period of time. Due to its cycle, it will enter Pisces, and then by the time we get to the end of July, it will be back in Aquarius, and then it will move back into Pisces at the end of this year, I think on December 29th. And then most of 2022, it will stay in Pisces. So Jupiter in Pisces kind of is an energy that I will say is more prevalent, more strong, more noticeable next year in 2022. However, we're getting a little bit of a taste of it now from May to July. So Jupiter entering Pisces, what does that mean? What kind of energy will that bring? Well, think of Jupiter as an amplifier. It's kind of like the quartz crystal. It amplifies whatever it's next to. And if we think of Jupiter amplifying the energies of Pisces, that dreamy, creative, intuitive energy that Pisces holds. So this is really a great time to tap into our spirituality, our creativity. If you're working on a project that deals with fantasy or any kind of like fantasy world or mysticism in any way, that can really get a boost under this Jupiter in Pisces energy. In fact, it's very supportive for any creative endeavors. And even if you're not working on anything creative, it's very supportive for trusting our intuition and allowing our intuition to guide us. So no matter what projects you're working on or wherever you're at in your life, this is a time where we can really, fine tune and learn to listen to our intuitive abilities. Anything intuitively led can also be magnified and amplified under this Jupiter in Pisces energy. If you want to read more about Jupiter and Pisces, I have an article. I'll drop a link below. Again, you can find it at foreverconscious.com. If you want to know how this energy is going to affect you, look back to what was happening in your life back in 2010. That was the last time that Jupiter was in Pisces. Now, it's not to say that exactly the same things are going to happen, but you may notice similar threads, similar patterns, or whatever lessons and gifts were given to you in 2010, you may find that you're leveling up. You're kind of reaching that new stage of that journey, of those, events. You've kind of graduated and now you're on the next sort of level. So if you can remember, maybe think back to 2010 and see what kind of patterns you might be able to place together. Also, if you are a Pisces rising, whenever Jupiter comes into your sign or your rising sign, it's considered a very lucky omen. It's a time where, basically it's your time to shine. The same if you have any planets in Pisces, if you're familiar with your chart and you know if you have any planets in Pisces, those planets can really be amplified. The energy of those planets can be amplified. So lots going on there, lots going on this week. We've got that shift of Jupiter into Pisces, beautiful spiritual creative energy supporting us to really listen to our intuition, really trust ourselves, really allow our imagination to filter in and help bring creativity and joy into our lives. And then we've got this grounding force of the new moon and then the changing winds of eclipse season coming in. So big week. Like I said, try out that ritual. This is a good time to ground, to stabilize, to surrender, and to find your peace within all of that. So I hope that's helpful. I am Tanaz from foreverconscious.com. Thank you guys so much.